Well, I'm delighted to invite up onto the stage the Chief Executive Officer of the energy giant Enel, Francesco Starace, who's going to wow us with his clean, green, and powerful thinking. Thank you.
Thank you. I was asked to speak about how to change a mindset, and of course I accepted. I was honored. Then I was told I had 8 minutes to do that, so I started to be concerned. But believe me, it works, because I tried it, these 8 minutes, with my wife, and at the 5 minutes I had changed my mindset. So you will see it works very well. So here it is. There is a small device. This one. There we go. We have a world that is changing very fast in front of us. These pictures show you glaciers. The pictures were taken from the same spot in the same glacier, 100 years of difference between the black and white image and the colored image. Believe it or not, it's the same spot. And we're doing this all over the world. There is a nice book. It's called On the Tracks of the Glaciers. This is a glacier in Chile. There should be another one. Here it is in Alaska. This just to show that the world is changing. Well, I think we are aware of that, but this is a big change that's going on. And it's not the only one. There is a huge disparity in the opportunity and wealth. We have growing unemployment problems in many parts of the world. We have humanitarian crisis, unprecedented migratory and refugee crisis. And in general, we can observe that it is in front of us. The survival of our planet is at risk. There is a pillaging that we have taken for granted for years in our planets that needs to end. So we think the adoption of the Agenda 2030 is good. It has set out a very ambitious long-term vision for all of us. It will look at a world free of poverty, hunger, disease. It looks like a dream. We think it is possible. And we've heard the Secretary General before talking about the importance of private and public partnership in order to reach this goal fast and to make it. We, as a private sector, are very eager to participate in this process. We believe that a first major milestone was there when in Paris, the COP21 finally agreed to a major agreement that was not granted, and the public and private sector were united in pushing through an agreement that I think is extremely important to directionally give all the investments in the world a clear indication. Carbon is a very high-risk proposition. So the question is not whether the 2030 agenda will work, but the question is how can we all make it work? So in terms of energy, our world has changed a lot. You know, we have a lot of things that happen around the world, and basically in our world of the energy sector, this is due to technology and technological improvements and turbulent changes that are affecting all of us. In this environment, we as energy companies, as large energy utilities, have understood that there is something wrong. What is it? And looking back, what kind of mistakes were there? We have been extremely successful for many, many, many years. And the business model which we were using to be successful has proven to be a little bit the trap in which we have fallen. This was a business model in which we would invest in very large facilities around the world, big, huge plants. These big facilities would typically require between 5 to 10 years to be conceived, permitted, and built. And by the time that they were finished, they would make us rich. The issue is that as technology changed, things around us, we found this model to be extremely risky. Today, if you start to build something that takes 10 years to be built, you risk to find yourself in a world that is very different from the one you started from. It's not a risk, it's a certainty. So you're taking a huge amount of capital and you're putting this, freezing it for 10 years before you finally come back to fruition. This is no more a possible solution. So we need to change, and the industry is suffering from that. Many utilities have written off huge capital allocations because of this. How can we change? How have we changed, in fact, in Enel? We have quite simply opened our eyes. And what we have seen is that this change cannot be resisted, and in many ways is beyond the control of many of our colleagues and partners. Typically, the energy world has seen these changes already. This is not the first time. We have seen in the last 2 centuries mankind move from wood to coal, from coal to oil, from oil to gas. Now renewables are coming in the picture. And these changes have in common that they were always a surprise at the time it happened. They always took a shorter time than people thought, all the time. And at the beginning, they seemed very little stuff. But they all had a tipping point. Beyond that tipping point, it was impossible to resist. We have this tipping point right now. It is happening in this very moment, and we should all understand, at least in this part of the world, our industry, that this is the way to go, and we should go into it quickly and with a decisive moment. We have found 2 words to summarize this approach. These are not the words. The words are open power. What does open power mean? It means that we have to open ourselves to the existence of new technologies. We have opened ourselves to new partnerships with parts of the industry we had not even thought about before. And more importantly, we have to open electricity access to about 1.2 billion people that have no access or limited access to electricity. There cannot be inclusive growth with 1 billion people cut out of electricity. These people will not have the right education. They will never be part of a society where other people have access to electricity. This is a basic endeavor that we all have to focus, and we think it's a task that we have. In order to do this properly, we coupled 2 parts of the activity of a company that typically are separated. One is sustainability, the other one is innovation, and we have put them together in order to stop worrying about sustainability on its own without trying to change the way we work. Because if we want to create value for everyone, not only for us, we need to innovate totally the processes, the way of thinking, the manpower we have, the technologies we have. So we have created this new concept. It's about creating shared value, which today is taking place all over the processes of our company, from business development to construction to operating our plants and selling our energy. And through this, we have speeding up a little bit the change. We have changed in order to embrace the future. We have been classified as one of the first 5 companies that can change the world. We're honored about it. I think we need a lot more companies if we really want to change the world. But seriously, we think that we can definitely do this. If I can leave you with something that really can embody or embodies my presence and my experience as a CEO of a big company like Enel, is that there is only one way to solve a very complex problem. In the world of today that is so interconnected and so interdependent and fast-moving, and this is to be open. You need to take the time to step back, listen to what others are saying. And others mean people that you have never really thought of, because they have solutions that you don't have. And the best way for the right solution sometimes is so obvious. But the most obvious decisions maybe are not the easiest ones sometimes. So Agenda 2030 in fact, is aiming to solve a very complex problem. If we listen carefully, if we pay attention to what others around us are saying, the change will turn into many exciting opportunities. So I wish all of you the courage to open up your mind and your heart to the endless possibilities of cooperation. Thank you.